Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We have a very special session tonight. If you don't know who I am, I'm Michelle Hayward, founder of Positive Hire. And I'm here with two fantastic women. One I have known virtually and in real life, I don't know, since what, 2015? So it seems like I know, but see, what had happened was I lived in Pittsburgh. She's from Pittsburgh. So we bonded over her love for her hometown and my hate for it. But then what had happened was she's in tech and I have a tech startup. So we're going to wind this out. Tawana's laughing at us. But this is why I love these two women. So they are both founding members. One is the CEO of the Black 10K Project. And we're going to talk about what that is. Tawana Rivers has 30 years of experience in human resources. I have an HR tech startup, so you already know what it is. You know why I like her. Y'all, see, you got to let people know what you do and how y'all work well together, right? Then we have Talisha Shine, who is a native of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, who literally had the opportunity to see technology up close and personal when as a high school student in Pittsburgh. Ended up starting out in chemical engineering, but ended up going into information technology, right? So you can make all these twists and pivots like, but what is the Black 10K Project? Why does it matter? In their career paths, in their lives, and talking to other small and operated, they understood the need for Black businesses to receive the finances they need in order to not only launch, but actually grow. And so tonight we're going to be talking about what it looks like to get the support you need financially, but also what it looks like to build community with other Black business owners. So Talisha and Tawana, welcome to my live stream here at Positive Hire. Anything that I left out that you want to add before we get started? Because you can tell I'm just a little bit excited.
No, ma'am. Let's jump in and get started.
Your excitement is awesome. That's why we're here.
Yes, Hunty. So if you have questions, please drop your questions in the chat. They are definitely open and here to answer them. So how did the 10K project start? I love this. I love having the history, right? How did the concept and the idea really get started?
Yeah, so there were 5 of us, and we were part of another group that we ran together. And one of our founders, former founders, kept talking about the struggles of Black founders and getting the funding that they need. And she really made it very simple and said, we've got it wrong. It's really simple. If 10,000 of us got together and put in $100, that'd be $1 million. We could fund Black founders over and over and over again. And she said that probably about 20 times. And on the 21st time she said it, I finally said, when are you going to do something about that? It's a great idea. When are you going to do something about it? And she said, I could never do this by myself. And we kind of looked at her and said, you're not by yourself. And here we are. Those, 3 of those founders have moved on to other opportunities, and their accomplishments are amazing, and their contribution to the 10K project, we would never have been able to do that without them. And here Talisha and I are standing strong, the 2 remaining founders running this organization, because it truly is a passion of ours.
Thank you so much for that. And I want to applaud the other 3 founders because it's hard work. So everybody's like, hey, they start stuff, they don't realize how much it takes, the consistency. And we always say, go rest, but don't give up. And so to have started this, how many years ago?
3.
This is our 3-year anniversary coming.
We're celebrating. Yes, this month. We are at 3 years old.
Ooh, but that's a lot of work and commitment and dedication. And the reason I say that, I'm part of the 10K project. So I get the emails and notifications. They are consistent. And Talisha, like, Michelle, you need to log in. I like, oh, you see that?
Well, I just nudge you. I just tell you there's something that you need to see. Come on and come in.
So. Exactly. And so we're talking about the need and the founding of the organization 3 years ago. What I want to know is the premise of why the 10K. You talked about $1 million. You talked about funding businesses, but it was a very interesting. Everybody's talking about Silicon Valley Bank.
Yes.
We as Black people don't have that often opportunity to get the financing, like you said. But what happens when we finance each other? Like, what is that? What is that opportunity when we invest in one another?
It's really simple, because when we invest in one another, we all win, right? Because what we don't often think about when we think about the founder is the investor as well. And so at the 10K Project, we're a community of both. We liken ourselves to matchmakers, right? We bring these two groups of people who need each other, whether they realize it or not. They need each other, and we bring them together so that they can all win. So from an investor standpoint, the investors are learning about how to build wealth. They're learning about investments. They're learning about equity crowdfunding. Many of them are also founders, whether they realize it or not, right? They may have had deferred dreams. And so when they see the founders living in their purpose, that sparks something magical in them as well. And they start out as an investor, and they slowly but surely turn into what they are also meant to be. And then from a founder standpoint, we really are a resource and a community for them. So it's not just about helping them raise the capital. It's really helping them grow and scale and be confident. We become their consumers, right? In addition to their investors. Talisha, did you want to add anything, dear?
As I think we are talking, excuse me, about Silicon Valley Bank, it's very interesting how, we've traversed this kind of point, because we see in 2021 and 2022 that uptick of VC funding, but as soon as it came, it went. So, we had that surge in 2021 where there was 4.2 billion raised by Black founders, but then that was cut in half in 2022. So we went all the way down, and that's still not even a small amount of what was raised overall. So we need a consistent place to be able to do that for our founders, not to be reliant on just something happening. So we had the pandemic, we had the racial recognition, all of that thing happening at the same time that threw us into those, like, okay, we'll throw money at you. But what happens when it's just a regular day? What if it happens where a bank goes down? Where do you find consistency? And you find consistency in your community rather than externally. So that's another reason that we try to be consistent in that endeavor for our founders as well as for the investors.
Yeah.
Thank you both for that. And one thing I will say, just looking at especially the tech venture capital ecosystem, is if you've seen looked at any of the messages that people send out, like what should startups do during an economic downturn, it was what Black businesses have to do all the time, which is, guess what? Generate revenue, get customers, look at your pricing. Do you need to increase your pricing? What are additional things your customers are willing to pay for? Because we can't get investments. Guess what we do? We generate revenue from day one. We have to. And so it's really interesting how some people get the opportunity to research and think deeply because they get funding, where we have to always be in action, take some breaks and rest, right? For our mental health, our physical health and our relationships. But we don't have that option sometimes because we don't have that funding on the back end, or either front end or the middle.
Right. And also just that commiseration. I think that's another place that we miss. It's like, yes, you want to commiserate and you don't want to have to retell your story all the time and kind of campaign for yourself.
Yep.
Outside in that world. So you can skip all that. We have the shorthand. We know what you've encountered. We've pitched before, we've had businesses, and we know what it looks like to just kind of people just glazing over when you're giving your pitch or just writing something down and then asking you the most ridiculous questions. So we have a community where you can skip that and just get to the business of running your business, because we know that what you've encountered is real. You don't have to prove that to us, and we're not trying to make you jump through hurdles. We just understand your plight. We need to get about the business of doing your business and finding the things that'll get you to that revenue cycle even more, because that's really what it is important, being able to be sustainable in the solvent business.
Yeah.
I love it. Tawana, any thoughts on that, or you're good?
Yeah, I love that what we're doing is making an impact, because founders need to believe that they can go to their community and not have to depend on the VCs. And no slight against the VCs. There's a need for them, right? The problem I have with them is it's kind of like the sitcom. There's only one black friend, right? And so VCs get to just choose one of us when there are a sea of amazing black founders doing more innovative things than anyone could imagine. I talk to founders every day, and every day I am blown away. We talk about black girl and black boy magic, but we have no idea. Some of these founders will never be known because they don't get the capital that they need. Yep. And these amazing ideas, we will never be able to see them. And they are solving real problems that the entire global ecosystem needs to have. And because they can't get the funding, we'll never hear about them. They'll never be a household name. We'll never have their products. We'll never, realize their solutions. And that's all because they can't get the funding, not because they're not amazing, not because the numbers don't validate it, but because the VCs already chose one.
Yep.
And that's garbage. It's trash, right? It's absolute trash. Yes. This shouldn't be that way. And so that's where we come in as community and say, we have the money to help fund you, right? You still have to be excellent, right? Because this is not charity, this is investing, right? Yep. So your numbers still need to be solid. The business model needs to be solid, but we're not just choosing one. We've got a community of investors that are intentional about building their portfolios black.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Woo. You said something that I really want to go back to, which is the community aspect of 10K Project. Can you talk more specifically on the customer base side as well as for the founders and small business owners?
Yeah, so from an investor standpoint, they are the core of the community because they're learning about building wealth and all the ways that you do that. And we talk about so many unconventional alternative ways that they can invest, right? We're teaching them to do some of everything. We just got off of a session where we were teaching them about being able to be tiny home developers. And so from an investor standpoint and a wealth building standpoint, we really want them to find their thing that allows them to build wealth for their family, but also be able to grow and build disposable income that allows them to invest in the founders that are part of the community that are looking for the capital raise. And so from a founder standpoint, we're really teaching them how to scale and grow. We're teaching them about the tips and tricks that they need to know about to navigate the system. We're raising capital for them, obviously, for the ones that have capital raises via equity crowdfunding. But more than anything else, we're really acting as a resource for them. So as they scale and grow, they get to come back to the community. We've got an expert directory where they get to find some of the skill sets that they need that are going to help them realize some of what that growth means, right? So now they get to hire a team because we all know from a Black founder standpoint, so many of us are doing it by ourselves. And so, or, if they're lucky, they have one or two people to help them. And so when you scale and grow, oftentimes you don't even know how to delegate because you're so used to doing it yourself. So we've got an expert directory where they can find the skill sets that they're looking for. What better place to come back to than the place that helped you raise the capital that you needed in the first place? So it truly is that ecosystem where the community helps each other over and over and over again. We always say it's about circulating that Black dollar within the community just a little longer than we did before, but it's about the fellowship part of that as well, not just the dollar. You want to add anything, Talisha, to that?
I'd say the networking. This is one of the strongest points that I think, we missed out on this so much, and that is a key component in the VC community. How to network appropriately. And we do a Bet on Black pitch every Tuesday. And there is undoubtedly somebody in the community that says, hey, I have a resource for you. Or, you might want to think about this person to connect to. and then they'll just have this whole organic conversation. But that's the internal networking that we're really trying to pull and do this very collaboratively within our own community, because we do know other people that could help and service us in different ways. And sometimes those connections are just, one-offs, and sometimes they actually now are partnerships. We've had people that have come together to do different things, like, yeah, I want to do this, but I need somebody else to kind of come with me. Can you be that person? And so we have that networking kind of effect going on in the community at all different points in time through the Facebook group, and through our Bet on Black pitches. But it's nice to see that part. And I think people forget that you don't need to just show up and present yourself, that there are people that are really rallying for you and could be resources for you in many different ways rather than just giving you money.
Yep.
Absolutely. And somebody said, "Hey, hi, Queen."
Hi, Karen.
So I want to pause here for a minute, because it's so much in what the 10K offers. You're getting financing, you're getting customers, you're getting resources, you're getting talent and consultants and service providers that will help you grow and scale your business in one place.
Yes.
So I want y'all to think about how much Black intellectual property, Black genius, Black hard work, effort, education, kings and queens, princes and princesses, Wakanda is in this, right?
Yes.
So the vibranium that is going on in the 10K, y'all think I'm playing?
They're in purple too. See, they got the vibranium. Just move it.
So I get this feeling, and from the National Society of Black Engineers at National Conference, when I see everything Black, and most people not willing to look and see the when we say Black excellence, often people are like, oh, you mean the smart people? I mean the people that have to overcome so many barriers consistently over and over again to stand at a level, right?
Correct.
And when you stand with other people, but we say we stand on the shoulders of our ancestors, but when you think about building in today's time and space, it's way more powerful, because we're doing it as a complete ecosystem. When there are other opportunities online, you can buy from an Amazon or Etsy and different things like that. But really supporting each other in the ecosystem keeps the dollars, even virtually, in the Black community. So I just want y'all to think about that, right? In that level, when I say Wakanda, or Tulsa, Oklahoma, it is a different, it's really how you've built out that community, that complete ecosystem. So I want y'all to pause. If you getting what I'm getting, if you catching on a little bit, let me know in the chat. So this is why I have y'all come on, because you see I'm really extra excited, and I've been a part of the 10K because thanks to Talisha.
Forever.
Since the beginning you've been a member.
Mm-hmm.
See, it don't even feel like it seems like it was just yesterday, but that was 2020, right?
Well, 2019, but this is what's interesting. This is, again, pivoting. So when we first began this endeavor, there wasn't a look that we were going to be a portal. That was how it was presented. So I kind of went through, that's when, as a tech person, I know how to build a system to kind of do the portal thing. But then we ran into, okay, we know we need something else. We also need a space, but we also need the education before we get to that space. And as the SEC, as that overseeing body, that was complicated and very challenging, because you have some limitations that just don't allow you to be in your fullest self. And so when we wanted to show up and show out, they were like, no, you cannot do that. So we went through that kind of conversation. Should we be, should we not? And then we came to the conclusion that it was better to provide the information rather than provide the place to go, because there's enough places to go, but you need to know what to do when you get there. Yeah. So that was a strong pivot to our communities, and that happened in the very first year. And so as they grew, these are the kind of things that I think people are so hell-bent on holding on to the original idea. You really have to see who you're servicing and how you service them best, and willing to take that chance. And we were really looking at our community and saying, what do they need from us? Not just what we want to give them. We wanted to ensure that they got what they needed. And they were asking, like, well, how do I do this? And how do I make this if I'm not accredited? Or how do I do due diligence? What is that?
Yeah.
How do I know? How do I build this portfolio that really can be maximized? We had to answer all those questions, and it was left up to the SEC. We wouldn't be able to do that. So that's why we were like, okay, if we do the portal, we're not going to be able to provide the best service for our customers.
Absolutely. I and I want to tell y'all, it was 2018. I was at a Black Tech event. I won't say who was there, who said what. But somebody was saying, as far as investment for Black founders, we needed to find a way to take the $250 from our grandmothers and the $50 from our uncles. And y'all have built that in the 10K project. And because everybody, I don't know if you was a kid, but if you pass a dime, a nickel, a penny on the street, and your parents saw you, your grandma like, "What you doing?" Money don't grow on you. You stopped and you picked it up because it still has value. And
I
so
still
when we made,
stop and pick it up. Listen, I know where I came from.
I still need my quarter for Aldi, and then eventually
I'm looking for those rare pennies. That's what I'm looking for. So I need quarters and pennies. I'm all about that life.
I love it. And so it's really important for us to find value in what we think is little money, because we know those nickels and dimes add up.
Yes.
But people like, they're seeing somebody like, oh, well, they were able to raise $15 million. And you're like, I can't raise nothing. Like, well, if you're taking $100 from so many Black people and coming through the 10K, you may only need $10,000 or $15,000 to get to your next milestone. And it's on your way to 15 million, and the path is very, very different. I'm just cracking up. I literally did that when I came to this country for pennies. Yeah, we people disrespect look change like, not around here. We work too hard. So
and I think that again, this is where I think there is a romanticizing of that VC funding. We're so used to only talking about these $20 million, $50 million. That's not all the time what they need. They're just trying to get from truly a seed stage. They just need that extra to get the product in an MVP stage, to work out the kinks, to be able to present to somebody. So that small dollar amount really is all that they need to make the next move and the concurrent next move. So it doesn't really require all of this, this money to do all of that. You really just need those things. And as a smart business person, as astute, they know that I just need this much right now so that I can either hire that person or get this app that I need to get the developer to make me this product. That's really what they're working on. So they're not looking to just, be established. They're really trying to build, and they understand those amounts of money that take them to build.
Yeah. And the Jobs Act, which is a law that Obama signed in 2012, allows regular everyday people to be able to invest at that startup stage. It was amazing to us, 3.5 years. We've been in business live for 3 years, but we've been talking about this thing for many months before we went live, right? So when you think about 4 years ago, when we really were thinking about what the business was going to be, it was amazing to talk to founders and investors alike. And like I think I talked to maybe 100 founders, more investors. They had no idea that this was a way that they could invest or a way that they could raise capital. And so when Talisha talks about making that hard decision to not be a portal, but to be more of a community education or an education community, it was with that in mind. If our people don't understand what their options are, how can we build wealth? We can't. And so teaching the community that $100 could be an investment opportunity, right? Not just a nice pair of sneakers or not, dinner at a fancy restaurant, right? We have to forego some of the instant luxuries that I think we spend our dollars on and really think about our futures. And now it's doable because the Jobs Act allows us to invest in startups with as little as $100. And these startups have the ability, right, to become what's called unicorn companies that are valued at $1 billion. There's this really cool story that we talk about from time to time, and I absolutely love it because it just kind of puts it in real life form. So I don't know if many of you may know what Kickstarter is and Indiegogo. They are rewards-based crowdfunding platforms. And it's typically where someone has a product and they are pre-selling the product so that they could raise money. And oftentimes they're pre-selling it to even be able to manufacture the product at the large quantities that they needed to. And Oculus, the virtual reality device, was on Kickstarter, and they were pre-selling it for about $339. And they pre-sold a ton of them, right? They did really, really well. Well, then fast forward, and so they built the virtual reality glasses. Everybody got shipped their VR device, and everybody's happy, right? Until Facebook buys Oculus, and when Facebook buys Oculus, Oculus is now worth billions of dollars. The people who bought the VR machine, they just got a VR machine. But imagine if that was equity. So when you think about the Jobs Act and the ability to now have an equity play in a startup's journey, right? Let's say that same Oculus company went on to an equity crowdfunding portal, and instead of giving you the device, they gave you a small share. The economist did the math and said that same $336, had it been an equity play, those investors, those early investors, would have received six-figure payouts. So they would have turned that $336 into six-figure payouts if it had been an equity play. That's the difference. That's how we get our community to build wealth. That's why founders have to go the equity crowdfunding route to try to raise some of the money they need, right? It both helps them get it, and it helps the investor be able to build wealth. I mean, that's the way we kind of even the playing field here. I believe that the Jobs Act was one of the best things Obama did for us. And it's still, so many people don't know about it.
I agree. It is definitely opportunity that is missed. I think through the 10K project, it's still a great opportunity to help spread the word and share. What I do like, and I want to go, I have a question, but before I get to that question, I want y'all, Talisha up here being a little bit shy. So when I say Talisha has been in tech, Talisha has actually developed a product and has sold it to a large, well-known tech company, right? And so one day she just talked, well, yeah, I built that and I sold it. I said, hold up. Hold up. She's like, why? I said, so you did an exit or how? And she's like, no.
Sort of, kind of.
Yeah, exactly. And so I need y'all to put your shine on, right? Please do not do this. We do so many, and I understand to a degree, we get a lot of pushback. Well, you should be humble. No. Because y'all still learn about Black history from yesterday, much less 100 years ago. You're going to learn the Black history today. So in the chat, if you can for me, say congratulations to Talisha.
Yes.
Say congratulations to Talisha. Talisha, anything you want to say about your story, about creating a software product that you sold to a company that really, because we're going to talk about this for a minute, and then we're going to get back to 10K, because this is where I think we struggle too, and not claiming our shine.
And celebrating ourselves, right?
Yeah, it's hard. And I think this is where it happens.
She's like that in real life all the time. She doesn't celebrate herself enough. She's an amazing tech professional. She does so many other things as well, but she is amazing. And she has trouble with being able to accept those accolades. And we kind of do better, especially as Black women. Like, we need to be able to say, when somebody say you amazing, you're supposed to say, thank you, sis, for noticing that, because I've been working hard. Right?
Well, I don't have Beyonce hair to flip, but yes, thank you. But I think I think if this is kind of analogous of how to traverse this, this is another aspect of why I think the 10K is such a great resource, because most of us are solopreneurs. So when I began my business back in 2015, which really was something that organically happened due to live streaming becoming popular, it was just doing something that I'm used to doing. So looking at back-end code, making revisions, looking for efficiencies, and I was able to build a product based upon someone else's inefficiencies. But at the same time, I was kind of in this my own little bubble. Like, I didn't have any resources, and there was nobody else to talk to because it was brand new. So at this point, it was like, oh, I just need to just give it away. I didn't have anybody to converse and be like, well, how do I leverage this? What should I be doing with this? And I think that's where the community would come in. You know, it would have been a very different thing had I had the 10K when I started that business, even from the resource perspective of just having somebody to have conversations with. What should I do? How should I do it? What should I be looking for? I think those are the things that we kind of miss, being in the position of just building. We have our heads down all the time, and we're just trying to get to the next part and the next part and the next part. You do need to look up and have somebody say, hey, you are doing a great job, and you may want to think about doing something like this, or you may want to, you know, try it a little differently for this person, or maybe you should look at these people as your customers. You forget that kind of part because you're just really in build mode. And that's where I think hustle, which I always say, I hate the hustle. The hustling leads you down a path of just get to the next part, and that becomes the problem. And in the 10K, we do try to celebrate. I think we do a great job of celebrating our founders, our investors, people in the community that are taking those steps and just saying, hey, that's a great job and kudos to you. And so that's one of the things that I truly love about our community.
And so I wanted to bring this up because we often are siloed, or we don't have other people to go through. And trust me, I understand as a tech founder in rural South Carolina, and I decided to be here. Then the pancetta came, and then I had to be here for my mom. But what happens is you have, if you're a small business owner or a entrepreneur founder, having a community like this is so very empowering to have these conversations, to understand what you don't know that you need to know, legal services, CPA, somebody help write your terms of service for your website, right? You don't know. And so understanding government contracts or master service agreements, which go by MSAs, you're gonna get all of these acronyms from different government agencies, corporations, nonprofits. It can be a lot, and it can be overwhelming. And so being able to go into an organization that understands why you don't know these things, like, well, that was seemingly, you should have learned that in school. No, I shouldn't have. Not when it's a rural Black school in the South, and they budget us a tenth of what they do white schools in the city, right? And so people who you don't have to educate on why you don't have the education, and it's because it continuously slows us down from what we really need to progress. But I brought up Talisha for one reason, was to see the power of how coming together really helps each and every one, whether you end up being a business owner, you're married to one, you birth one, you raise one, you are one. It is so much in here for the full ecosystem. So Talisha, thank you for bridging what you experienced to how the 10K project would have changed all of that for you. And so I didn't bring the 10K project on to say, oh, invest in Black businesses. I brought them on here because they saw the gap and they stepped into the gap, right? And that is truly important. It's not, oh, it's an opportunity. No, we have to do something for our Black business owners. We have to do something for our Black people, for our Black communities. And it's really important that when you're talking to people in business, are they about business, or are they about you, the community, and the people? And that's what I love about the 10K project. Now I'm gonna get off this high horse. Well, it's not a high horse, but I want to go back into, how do people join and become a part of the 10K project?
It's really simple. Go to the10kproject.com. We have a become a member section on the website. Right now, we actually have a special going on where we're only charging $100 annually for membership. We also offer some ancillary services. We've got an amazing partnership with a Black-owned financial planning company, Freeman Capital, where we also provide financial planning, and they can create your own wealth plan for you. There's a discount on that right now on the website also. And that's the other thing, Talisha talks about networking within the community, but partnership is a big part of the 10K project. I mean, we're offering masterminds for some of our founders. We've got one going on right now, helping them learn how to get grants. Because we know that's another viable way to get money.
She celebrates that.
And we with this amazing woman named Beverly Burgess, and she's like a hidden gem, 40 plus years of grant experience. And she chose the 10K project to partner with and to educate our community on how to get grants. And we've got some community members that are already successfully obtaining some of those based on her educational ability and how she's been able to really mentor us. And so partnerships are huge for us. We know that we don't want to do this alone and that we can't. And so we don't try to, right? That was an early lesson for us, is when people ask how you help, we're going to tell them how we need help, right? And, the pride does not live here. We need help because we have a mission, right? We chose this business model, and trust us, this was not the most profitable of the business models, right? Being a porter was way more profitable, but this was the work that mattered. This is the legacy building. This is the work that you can look in the mirror in the morning and smile at who you are, because life is not just about you. It's bigger than you. And this mission is bigger than any one of us. And so partnerships mean the world to us. But you can join us, the10kproject.com. We've also got across all social, we are Black 10K. And so join us on the social platforms. We've also got right now, because it is our 3rd anniversary month, we've got a special going on right now where if members are if members refer people and the person joins, we have the person who joins going in a drawing for a free membership. And then we've got the person who referred them going into a drawing for up to $300. So just our way to give back to the community, because we are really grateful that they show up and show out for us week after week for these last 3 years.
Woo. Okay. So y'all know how to join. Y'all know what it's about. Y'all know who's running it. I'm like, so go ahead and drop your questions in there. But the non-dilutive funding for your business is so very powerful and important, because we keep hearing venture, VC, angel invest. Non-dilutive and generating revenue are so much power in them. People paying you for your product and or service. That means there are people that are out there that actually want it, and they're willing to put their money on there, their credit card, their cash, some crypto. They're about that life. And that really, really is important for you to understand what the game plan is. The other part that I really like about what you said was, it's a lot of things, but y'all got a special to join the $100 for the year, and understanding let's talk about that. Who are some of the success stories? Who are some of the people that have come through, Black entrepreneurs and small businesses that have won and really had so much positivity coming through the 10K project?
So it's funny you asked that question, because we when we talk about celebrating ourselves, we just had a conversation internally where we don't do a great job of kind of bragging on some of the people that we see come through us. And so when we see the media and we'll see one of our founders make it big, or being signed by Serena Williams VC firm, we're like, oh, they came to us first. Like, like win. And so we need to do a better job of celebrating that, because we're part of their journey, right? We're part of their story and they're part of ours. And so there's an amazing company we just hosted last week, Eat Okra. They're in the middle of their capital raise. They are a Black-owned application where you can find any Black-owned restaurant in the country. An amazing company, amazing journey, amazing story. It all started because the wife of the partnership said, you need to, to her husband, who's a developer, you need to build something where we can find all the cool restaurants to eat. And then he listened and he did it. And now, they're killing the game with it. We have a company that just currently is ending their raise. They raised $2.9 million, a company named Wiggle, doing amazing things. We've got a company, Creeby Coffee, best coffee you will ever have in your life. It is amazing.
Says this all the time, y'all.
It is amazing. No bitterness. Like, it's amazing coffee. They're out there, doing great things. Goodness, it's so many. I mean,
we had Pigeon Loans, who came and was accepted into the Y Combinator. We've had TrackFlow, who was signed $1 million with Serena Williams Venture. We've had Arlen Hamilton, known VC, come to the 10K to actually pitch her company Runner. So there, we've had the successes, the individuals who see value in us, and that to me is the success. They know that we have a community, and they always say they felt really good having the pitch. It's a different type of pitch. They're not standing in front of people who are disinterested and rolling their eyes and sucking their teeth. We're really engaged. We're like, how did you do it? And what's your origin story? And how can we help you? And where can I get your product? There's so much love and feeling good about the pitch that it makes it a really successful, endeavor for everybody who comes to the 10K.
Yeah, I even hate that we called it a pitch, because it's so much more than that.
It is. Yeah,
it is really this intimate evening where we're loving on the founder, and it's not a competition. The night is about just them. Yeah. And we are loving on them. They've oftentimes called me after and said, "Oh my God, that felt like I was just sitting at home talking to friends." And we were like, "That's the point. That's who we are."
You're home. You're having a conversation with your family and friends, just telling them all the things that you're doing and how great it is. And we just sit there and say, "Yep, you are. And we're going to help you as best as we can."
Now, do the founders, business owners have to be a part of the 10K project in order to pitch the 10K project?
So one of the things we include with their securing the spot is we give them free lifetime membership, because we want the founders to be a part of this community, right? Because as they succeed, we want them to know we're their tribe. And so we actually throw in free membership lifetime for them when they join us for the pitches.
I'm just saying, y'all, I don't, why y'all still sitting here? Maybe y'all not asking questions because y'all filling out how to be a member.
You better be clicking that button. Click it.
Yes. So as we wind down, because we stayed on here a little bit longer, because I'm having a good time. I'm over excited. Y'all gotta roll with me, rock with me.
Rolling with you.
How can people connect with you, or is it just better to go with 10K? Like, tell the people what they joined the 10K, but they might want to go somewhere and hang out with y'all. Like, what's up?
You better watch out what you ask for. You want to hang out with us?
Yeah, we're a pretty rowdy bunch.
Indeed. But you can find us. I am info@the10kproject.com. If someone wants to email, ask any specific questions, when you send that email, that's me that's responding. We're very accessible to the community. It's interesting. I read a book, a chapter in a book the other day, and it said, you shouldn't make yourself accessible to your customers. And I was like, BS. I'm here. I wouldn't be me without them. I'm here. If they need something, they need to talk, I'm right here for them, right? So I thought, yeah, and it's funny because I closed the book. I didn't pick it back up. I probably need to pick it back up because the rest of the book was good. That was just
and all across social too. You can find us across social. You can DM us there. We're everywhere you need to be. And I will answer you as quickly as I possibly can, because sometimes we have lots and lots of questions.
I love it. I love it.
Social, we're the ones in the community talking and engaging. So you get us. You don't get a virtual assistant. It is us, the real.
And no chat bots. Yeah, there's no bots at this point. You're talking to me or Mr. Juan.
I know Talisha. So y'all got like to the end of 2023. And then she's gonna throw in some AI. So I'm just saying, y'all won't know it's not her, but it's gonna be something good. I know Talisha. I'm just saying.
She does. She truly does know me very, very well.
We've already talked about that a little bit, so she knows you very well.
She does. She's the person who IMs me at 2 a.m. See, she is my 2 a.m. buddy. Talking about, did you see this? And what does this mean? See, when I do that with her, she gets mad at me. See, that's why I need you, Michelle.
Why are you up at 2 a.m. talking about work and stuff?
Because there's important stuff happening at 2 a.m. Tell her.
See, what had happened is My mind literally turns on at 10 p.m.
10 p.m.
Yeah, 10 p.m. Like 10 a.m. Like, Lord, I got to get up. Or 9:30, like, Lord, I got to get up. I appreciate you waking me up today. But what happened was,
like all day.
yeah,
And then she will fire like a whole group of questions at me. Like, what does this mean? How does that get there? What does this do? Have you seen this site? I don't know if this is real or not. Do you think this person is real? I'm like, let me see. I'll get up, and then next thing I know, we having a whole conversation. The sun is coming up. I'm like, now I have to go to work.
my bad. But we do have a question for you ladies.
Okay.
Aside from education, are there any other resources for bootstrappers? I love that bootstrapping. What's up, fellow bootstrapper? Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, I think really from a bootstrapping standpoint, there's information in our knowledge center to talk about, tapping into some resources that kind of help mitigate some of that, right? Coming out of your own pocket, right? How do you engage your family, your friends? How do you engage the community at the early stage, right? Is equity crowdfunding a good option for you to stop having to bootstrap, to really go to the larger community to help you raise? So absolutely, there is information there.
So I was having a conversation. I don't know if it was with Akila, who's in the chat. It was with somebody. And I said, two of the things that I did wrong starting early, it was just me for too long.
Yep.
Literally, it was just me for too long. Even if it was a virtual assistant in college interns, I did too much for too long. And I probably would have saved myself so much additional work and be further ahead. However, this is the path in which the Lord gave me. And I am giving y'all the 10K project. So your road is not as rocky as mine, right? You have more sturdy footing. So we giving you this, okay? But what I would also say is when you look at community, especially as a bootstrapper, people who understand bootstrapping, a lot of funded businesses do not know how to do sales. They don't know how to they don't know how to have the conversations. They have not done cold emails, cold sales call, online marketing. Like they don't know nothing. All they know is their product and how everybody should love it. And so you're really talking to a different type of business owner. One of my friends, she's not on here, started her photography business in 33 years ago. And she calls it air game and ground game. She like us Gen Xers, we understand the ground game mean in real life, and we understand the air game. What we're getting is people that understood during the pancetta, a lot of business, brick and mortar, especially Black ones, didn't understand air game, how to go online. Now we're opening back up. The young people are like, hold up, I don't want to go outside. It's like, because now ground game is on and popping. Mm-hmm. And so it's really important when you have the communities where if you're strong in one part, you're going to need other people to help you figure out who to hire, how to bridge until you get somebody hired in that spot, whether it's consultant or you building out a process and you automating, how to really help you there. And so I know you like resources. It is so much brain power and experience in a community that you would be surprised how just being in community really, really helps you.
And that's the leveraging. I think that's the key. We get a little too close to it and then we don't want to share. But if you don't share what you need help with or what your product is capable of, you get stuck doing everything yourself. So we become this like, let me sign a NDA. Everything doesn't require that. So calm down. And when you come into it, be able to express what it does. Don't give everything away. But when you say, I'm needing help in this because this is what I have, this is what I've built, that takes you further, I think, than having that, I'm just going to hold it onto myself, because then you are an army of one and you won't get any further. And that's where help doesn't come to you, because everybody thinks you're just going to do it by yourself.
Yeah.
Woo. Okay. Next question. What is one misstep from your journey that you value now?
Interesting. So from a 10K project, I would say for me, it's definitely those early decisions that cost us a lot of money. like when we talk about the pivot from not being a portal, right, and really focusing on being an education community, a lot of attorneys got a lot of money in helping make that decision. I mean, I think we dropped like 30 on one attorney because she didn't give us what we needed. And then we ended up doing like 40 on the second one.
40,000.
Right. And then we decided not to be a portal. And it was just like, okay, we just wasted $70,000. Like, what the heck just happened here? So what I learned from that was we get to sit with things for a little bit, right? Now, I'm not saying procrastinate because I don't believe in that, right? You got to act. But that whole making decisions in a vacuum and not really looking at all the angles, I don't do that, right? That's something that for me, strategy is everything. Really thinking it through. Again, not to where you're paralyzing yourself, right? You got to act at some point. But I think we were so excited about what we were trying to accomplish, and I think we moved a little faster than we should have. And so for me now, I know I need to take a little bit of time to really think about what this means for the community. What's the point? What's the purpose? Does it meet the goals? Is it on mission? Like really thinking about that before making a decision. So as a founder now, I'm a more frugal founder. Like I'm looking for sales, right? I'm looking for discounts. Talisha always finds me a trial or something, right? Before we try it out. We don't pay for anything without a trial. She'll find a 10-day trial for you in a minute. And so we're really, really watching the dollars and being mindful of that because we don't want to be wasteful. We want to really, build this company in a way that it has longevity. You're never going to see it. We're not going to be the founders in front of the Lambo, right? That's not ever going to be us. Never, ever. Right. But we're going to grow this steady and smartly so that it can be around for 10 and 15 years. Right. So that we're helping people for a long time to come. And so that was a misstep that I definitely learned something from.
It's a growth. I learned that in both, I would say, throughout my journey as an entrepreneur, kind of doing it solo. I didn't have a lot, so I didn't have to confer with anybody. I just went ahead and did what I wanted to do. So that also became just like that. It was just going and just building everything and anything. And that's because I am a builder. That is one of those things. So when we did the portal, I was like, sure. So I just went off and built something without any kind of like, okay, I'll do it. And that doesn't really tie. So you start to, again, you become so myopically focused on that one task that it really does. Like, how does this fit? Because if I bring it back and you said, oh, well, I wanted it square, not a circle, I've lost all that time. And it does take time, as most tech people will tell you, to build something. And it's not just a plug and play all the time. There are some other aspects to it. And specifically with this, there was a lot of regulation and other things that had to go into it. And that's where the lawyers came in, because we can build it, but is it sound? Does it actually function the way that it's supposed to function through regulation? And that we lost a lot of that because it was required and none of us had that skill set. So that's, again, relying on something, and you don't have to go outside. You do have to go outside and say, hey, I need somebody to tell me if this is good or not. Because as Tawana says, we are too cute to be in orange jumpsuits. She says that all the time, and I agree.
I look good, the way I put it is, I look good in Clemson orange, not prison orange.
I always say I'm a Thelma and Louise kind of girl. I am not going to prison.
So I'll just throw in my 0.5 cent, because with inflation is no longer 2. The other thing I did too late was really understanding how to do sales. To me, accelerators focus on pitching investors and decks, but not in getting customers. And so it's really important to understand, like, you don't know what you're selling quite yet. Guess what? You're going to learn real quick how to do this customer discovery, what questions to ask, and how to go through it. And I see that as a huge barrier. I'm working with a client right now who's an engineer, because those are my people, right? But she has a great SaaS, software as a service concept. She's literally starting out doing technical writing, making multi six figures doing it part-time, right? So she's generating revenue at the same time she's building a customer base. And so and she's working full-time, and she's a mom and a wife. So she, we like, let's parse back some stuff. And she's like, oh no, I'm good. And then she's like, I'm crashing. I was like, I knew it was gonna come because you all excited. Yay! But it's really important that, to me, that sales part is really, really important. And I waited to a point wherein, had I done it a year earlier, because I didn't really start focusing on sales until, guess what year? 2020.
Yeah, that's not a good. I mean, I think all this is a really good point. I think whatever you're doing, having a revenue, understanding of where your revenue is coming from is very important, because you could have the greatest ideas, but how do you get paid has to be one of those questions. You have to ask it, because you're not just doing it to give it away for free. And I think we get caught up in the idea, and this is great, and we'll figure out the revenue. That needs to really come with the idea, and how does this translate into who will pay me and how much needs to happen very, very early in the conversation.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's all. I go make the money. Don't let the money make you. Y'all know a movie that from. If you don't worry about it. So as we wrap up tonight, because we stayed on here, I thought we'd do this in 30, 40 minutes, about an hour later, y'all have gotten enough. Yeah. Be impatient for profits. Collect the coins. You can always change your product and service. 10K project has already talked about that. How they were going one direction, they changed. It is okay to do that. Right? You start out at a hair salon. Guess what? Now you're a clothing store. Well, tomorrow you're going to be a vegan restaurant. I'm just saying, just make sure you got the right licenses. But listen to the market, listen to the customers. That is the most important. Like Talisha said, if I had to listen to that, I'd have known they wanted a circle and not a square. And so I'm going to turn it back over to y'all. What are your last final thoughts for the evening as we wind this thing down?
I would just say, if you're a founder and you're looking for community, the 10kproject.com is the place where you want to be. If you're an investor and you're looking at ways to build wealth, we've got hundreds of hours of information on all the ways the rich get richer. And we'd love to share that information with you. So please visit the website, the10kproject.com.
And I will just echo that same sentiment. We would love to have you and to help you and just to be a part of this. Again, the 10K is truly the number, as we always call it, just the really who we are. We want tens of thousands of you so we can help each other. So I say, this is our Jerry Maguire. Help us, help you, help us. This is where we are. And the more we have, the better we are.
Yeah, y'all heard the ladies, so heard the queens, so you know where to go. Everybody, thank you so much for joining me. These this week have been special sessions, but this is where I am as far as building out a tech startup. A lot of people don't know that's what Positive Hire is, but I don't center the technology. I center the Black women, the Latinas, the indigenous women in science who are scientists, engineers, and technology professionals, because I listen to my community. I listen to my customers, and now I'm getting all choked up. So thank you, Tawana and Talisha, for joining me. Thank you, everybody that has joined us tonight. If you're watching on the replay or the podcast, thank you as well. Everybody have a great week, and we will talk to you later. Bye.
Bye, everyone.